Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Voyager, Season 7, Episode 24, The Renaissance Man, which coincidentally is also one of my favorite movies, the Danny DeVito one. But anyways, so this is it. This is the penultimate episode of Voyager, and it is actually a pretty good episode. Like, it was really enjoyable. I feel like it has a lot of hype to it because it's the penultimate. This is the last episode before the series finale. And I mean, realistically, you could take this episode and you could kind of put it in any other season and it would just work just as well. So to look at it as just its own episode is a little difficult, but overall it does kind of hold its own. It is a really good episode. So from the very beginning, where we see like the Doctor and Janeway are going on an away mission together, and it's kind of fun because the two of them, the Doctor wants to spend more time with her to communicate. Vorik makes a return, which we haven't seen him in like at least 2 years, this whole season's kind of felt very awkward with that. Like, we saw Lieutenant Carey just to watch him die. Now we see Vorik. We saw Ensign Wildman in the last season. So just stuff like that. It's just kind of weird them bringing back all of these old faces. By the time we actually get to the away mission coming back, you can already kind of tell things are going weird with like Janeway talking to herself and stuff like this. And realistically, like, if you've been watching Star Trek or at least for Voyager the last 7 years, you could probably guess what it is pretty quickly. And that this whole episode, the reason it works so well is because we get a lot of Doctor-focused episodes. And Robert Picardo is a great actor, and it's kind of interesting to watch him do a lot of stuff. But this episode really kind of shows the other actors. And just like Janeway, like Kate Mulgrew, like talking to herself and stuff like that. Because we're not seeing the Doctor pretend to be other people. We're seeing the other people pretending to be the Doctor. And they do a fantastic job. Kind of like the one episode where 7 of 9 had to do it. Anyways, it turns out that it's the Heirarchy species that has kidnapped Janeway. This is the third time that we've seen them, and realistically, I feel like if they had done more, or if the show had continued on, they could have done more with this species, but there are 3 appearances. I really like their first one, because that's the one where we first see the emergency command hologram, and then the second one's that weird pocket dimension, and then now there's this one. Overall, of course, it's Tuvok that figures out that it's the Doctor, and that whole scene where he like chases the Doctor into holodeck 2 and it's nothing but Doctors is kind of a great scene. I do love how they kind of take advantage of that B'Elanna, the actress that plays B'Elanna, Roxanne, was not actually pregnant at the time, and so they ask, the Doctor has her holographic projection come up, and she's very thin, and he's like, update it, and then now she's pregnant again, which is kind of funny because she was pregnant shortly before her character became pregnant. So I really like that scene. Probably the best, one of the best scenes is the Doctor's confessions, where he's just like, I thought you were a terrible captain when I first was activated. Please delete that. And just going this. And finally, he confesses his love to 7 of 9, which I've been waiting this whole time, and especially for her to like bring it back. It's just a great scene, watching him go through all these confessions. So as odd as this sounds, I have not thought about it throughout all of Star Trek, but in the final scene when Janeway walks in to talk to the Doctor, he actually casts a shadow. And I never really thought about like holograms, if they cast shadows or not, because I know things can pass through them, and then when he wants, he can be a solid person. So I don't know, I never thought about holograms and shadows, but that's kind of an interesting thought. And then of course she agrees to like take him to a cafe in the holodeck and like leave your rank at the door and no opera. And I was like, that's actually pretty cool. And that's one of those scenes where it's like the whole Next Generation, Picard always kind of kept his distance. Like, he didn't really play poker or anything like that with the other crew members until the last episode. And for this one, it's kind of interesting, and we've seen Janeway say like, oh, I can't get too involved, I have to keep my distance, and it's basically her way of kind of accepting with the Doctor. Overall, I do really enjoy this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. For those who have seen it, what did you guys think? Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time for the series finale, Endgame.